Sometimes the most powerful moves happen in silence, and right now there's something brewing in Detroit that could completely reshape our offensive identity for the rest of this season and beyond. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, the channel where you're going to get the freshest updates and the deepest analysis on our beloved Detroit Lions. I'm here to bring you inside information that's been circulating around Allen Park, and trust me when I say this, what I'm about to break down could be the game changer we've all been waiting for. Stay with me until the end because the names I'm going to reveal have the potential to transform our trenches into an absolute fortress. Look, we all saw what happened in Week 9 against Minnesota. The heartbreak of that loss still stings, but beyond the final score, something far more concerning emerged from that game. Christian Mahogany went down with a broken ankle, and Dan Campbell didn't sugarcoat it on Monday when he said our young guard would be out for a long time. That's the reality we're facing right now. Our offensive line, which has been the foundation of everything great this team has accomplished over the past 2 years, suddenly has a massive vulnerability that we cannot afford to ignore. Now, I've been following this team long enough to know that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell don't sit idle when problems arise. These are men of action, men who understand that championship windows don't stay open forever, and when you've got Jared Goff playing at an MVP level, when you've got the weapons we have on offense, you cannot let your protection break down. You cannot allow the engine that drives this entire operation to sputter because of depth issues along the interior line. And here's where things get absolutely fascinating. While everyone was focused on our defensive needs at the trade deadline, while every analyst was screaming about edge rushers and secondary help, I think the organization was looking at a different problem entirely. They were assessing our offensive line situation, running the numbers, projecting what this injury to Mahogany really means for our championship aspirations. And from what I'm hearing from conversations and observations I've been piecing together, they may have identified not one but 2 solutions that would be absolutely massive. Let me paint you a picture of what our offensive line situation looks like right now. We've got Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell on the outside, 2 absolute studs who are among the best tackle tandem in the entire NFL. Frank Ragnow at center is playing at an all-pro level again, anchoring everything we do, but at guard, we're suddenly thin. We're relying on Tristan Colon and Kingsley Egwakun to step up. And while I believe in our depth development program, these are young guys being asked to protect a quarterback on a team with Super Bowl aspirations. The Lions signed Jack Conley to the practice squad, which tells you they're actively searching for solutions. But a practice squad addition isn't going to cut it for a team that's won back-to-back NFC North titles and is genuinely competing for a championship this year. We need proven elite talent. We need players who have been there, done that, who can step into our system and immediately raise the level of play around them. And this is where the Cleveland Browns enter the conversation in a major way. Cleveland has been one of the most disappointing teams this season, sitting well below expectations with a roster that was supposed to contend. They've got an aging core, expensive contracts, and a quarterback situation that's uncertain at best. When teams find themselves in that position, when the present looks bleak and the future unclear, they start making calculations about which veterans might be better off elsewhere, about which assets could be converted into draft capital or financial flexibility. The Browns have 2 guards on their roster who are not just good, they're exceptional. I'm talking about multiple-time Pro Bowl selections. I'm talking about guys who have been the backbone of one of the league's most physical offensive lines for years. These are players who know exactly what it takes to win in the trenches, who understand the assignment every single snap, who bring a level of experience and technical mastery that you simply cannot teach. Think about what adding that caliber of player would mean for our offense. Think about Jared Goff having even more time in the pocket, having even cleaner passing lanes. Think about David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs running behind a line that's not just good, but historically dominant. Think about our play-action game, our screen game, all the misdirection and creativity that Ben Johnson loves to deploy, all of it enhanced by having absolute maulers in the interior. The offensive line is the one position group where age and experience aren't liabilities, they're assets. A 32 or 33-year-old guard who's been to multiple Pro Bowls isn't declining. He's in his absolute prime in terms of technique, understanding, and the mental side of the game. These aren't guys who rely on explosive athleticism. These are technicians who use leverage, hand placement, footwork, and football IQ to dominate their opponents. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Why would Cleveland trade away core pieces of their offensive line? Here's the reality. They're paying significant money to these players. They're not competing this year. And they have needs all across their roster that require immediate attention and long-term planning. If a contending team like the Lions came calling with the right offer, with draft compensation that could help Cleveland rebuild, it's absolutely something they'd have to consider seriously. And from Detroit's perspective, this makes perfect strategic sense. We're not in rebuilding mode. We're not thinking about 3 years from now. We're in win-now mode with a roster that's ready to compete for championships right now. You don't waste these opportunities. You don't let injuries derail what could be a magical season. You go out and you get the players you need to maximize your chances. Let me be specific about the two names that keep coming up in these speculative conversations, the two guards who could realistically be available and who would be absolutely perfect fits for what we're trying to do. I'm talking about Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, two of the most decorated interior linemen in the entire NFL over the past 5 seasons. Joel Bitonio has been selected to 4 Pro Bowls. He's been an All-Pro, and he's been the steady, reliable presence on Cleveland's left side for years. He's 33 years old, which in guard years means he's got plenty of quality football left. His pass protection is elite, his run blocking is powerful and technically sound, and he brings a level of leadership and professionalism that would fit perfectly in our locker room culture. Wyatt Teller is a mauler, plain and simple. This guy has been to 3 consecutive Pro Bowls, and when you watch tape of him, you see a guard who physically dominates defensive tackles and linebackers. He's 30 years old, right in his absolute prime, and his strength in the run game would take our ground attack to another level entirely. Imagine him pulling on outside zone runs. Imagine him sealing off interior rushers on pass plays. It's the kind of upgrade that changes everything. Now, would acquiring both of these players be expensive? Absolutely. Would it require draft capital, maybe restructuring some contracts, making some difficult financial decisions? Without question. But here's my perspective on this, and I think it aligns with how Dan Campbell thinks. You cannot put a price on a championship. You cannot be timid when you have a legitimate shot at winning it all. Look at what we've built here. Look at the culture, the talent, the coaching. Look at Jared Goff's resurgence. Look at our defensive improvements despite the injuries. Look at the way this team fights and competes every single week. This is a special group. This is a championship-caliber roster, and when you have that, you go all in. You don't hold back. You don't play it safe. Adding Bitonio and Teller would send a message not just to our roster, but to the entire league. The Detroit Lions are serious. We're not satisfied with division titles. We're not content with just being competitive. We're hunting for that Lombardi trophy, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to bring it home to Detroit. Think about the immediate impact on our offense. Ragnow, Bitonio, and Teller as your interior 3, that's potentially the best interior offensive line in the entire NFL. That's the kind of foundation that allows offensive coordinators to call any play they want, that allows quarterbacks to go through their full progressions, that allows running backs to find massive holes. That's the kind of unit that wins championships. And the beauty of this potential move is that it wouldn't just be about this season. Both players still have quality years left on their careers. This wouldn't be a rental situation. This would be setting up our offensive line for sustained excellence. We'd have continuity we'd have proven veterans who can also mentor younger players, and we'd have the peace of mind knowing that one of the most critical position groups on our team is locked down with elite talent. So, here's where we stand right now. The speculation is real, the need is obvious, and the potential targets make perfect sense from every angle. Would Cleveland actually trade these guys? That's the billion-dollar question, and honestly, it depends on what we're willing to offer and how serious Cleveland is about their current trajectory. But if I'm Brad Holmes, I'm absolutely making those calls. I'm absolutely exploring every possible avenue to upgrade this roster. Because at the end of the day, this is our moment. This is the Lions' time to finally break through, to finally achieve what this fan base has been dreaming about for decades. And if adding Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller is what it takes to get us over that hump, then it's a move we absolutely have to make. Now, I want to hear from you, Lions Nation. Do you think we should aggressively pursue these guards? Would you be willing to part with draft picks to land both Bitonio and Teller? How important do you think offensive line reinforcements are compared to our defensive needs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely want to know how you're feeling about this potential move. And if you love this kind of in-depth analysis, if you want to stay ahead of every Lions development with insights you won't find anywhere else, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Smash that notification bell so you never miss an update, because here at Lions News Fan Report, we're bringing you the most comprehensive Lions coverage on YouTube. We're your source for breaking news, tactical breakdowns, and the kind of analysis that helps you truly understand what's happening with our team. Let's ride this journey together all the way to a championship. 1. Pride.